What's up, tricksters and tricksetas, and welcome to the second biannual Ultimate Agents tier list presented by your favorite Radiant coach, Charlatano Papito. A lot of things have changed since January, because the last tier list was in January. Like, we got new agents, we got duelist changes, we got some huge nerfs and buffs like to Viper, Neon, ISO, etc, etc. So there's plenty of things to discuss, and the agents tier list is completely different compared to what I showcased in January. Quick disclaimer, why would you listen to me and my opinion? I reached Radiant in every single episode since closed beta, it's 22 times. Just look at me. I wear the same shirt every single stream. I have 10 of those. I smell good. 4,000 players successfully coached in the last 4 years. I'm here to teach you how to find your playstyle that is perfect for you, how to find agents that are perfect for you, like how to choose your main agents, what is your main goal in Valorant, how do we divide the agents in this game, and also many other things. And also one more quick disclaimer, this tier list is only focusing on a ranked environment. When it comes to the esports, I don't give a crap about that. I'm a Radiant coach, coaching solo queue players. My job is to get you from Iron 1 to Radiant as soon as possible, and to make your grind and road as smooth as possible. So let's dive into the tier list, and let's discuss some very important topics for you. So the first topic that we need to discuss is, what is the main focus of this Ultimate Agents tier list? This tier list is representing the best agents for players' fast solo improvement. We're focusing on the ranked environment, not on esports. Forget about that. Now, remember that the different agents are going to impact the improvement of your individual skill sets on a different level. So the agent that you're maining actually matters a lot when it comes to your solo progress. Basically, the speed of your improvement is directly correlated with the agents that you main. Obviously, there's multiple different variables, but choosing a right agent can definitely help you out. Now, the main focus of this tier list is the ranked solo duo environment below Radiant levels. When I say Radiant levels, I mean the Pro Elo. Now, what is Pro Elo? We're gonna talk about that a bit later. So essentially, if you're just playing for fun, or you're already above Immortal 3, around 450 plus rank rating, this tier list means absolutely nothing to you. Because in Pro Elo and in esports environment, every agent is viable to some degree. Because of all of this, it's very important that you find the perfect playstyle for yourself and main agents before you reach at least high elo lobbies. Why? Because you already need to develop yourself on an individual level. Now, in low, medium, and high elo lobbies, usually the best idea for 90% of players in Valorant is to main agents that are versatile and self-sustainable in ranked environment. TLDR, you want to main agents that can solo carry and that can easily play at least 90% of different scenarios that you come across in Valorant. The worst thing that you can do in Valorant ranked solo queue is come into a match thinking that your teammates are always going to do a good or an optimal play. No, every single match in Valorant you start with a mindset, my teammates are bad until they prove me wrong. And as a final note, in this first segment, you want to main agents that are going to put you in as many different scenarios as possible in order for you to grow as a player as fast as possible. Maining agents that are only good for some specific scenarios is usually not a good idea for 90% of players in Valorant, because then you're only going to learn one playstyle, you're only going to learn how to play one small portion of scenarios in Valorant, and you're never gonna put yourself outside of your comfort zone to grow as a player. And that brings us to the topic number 2. What are your main goals in Valorant? One of your main goals is to start playing with and against better players as soon as possible by abusing any means necessary. If your goal in Valorant is to reach Radiant, what you want to do is you want to abuse the meta and the most broken things within the game in order to improve and rank up faster. Of course, like when I say by any means necessary, I don't mean boosting, account sharing, buying the accounts, you know, like some of the other coaches and content creators. Basically, you know, duo queuing with your friends that are higher elo than you. You don't need to always buy and consider buying coaching, for an example. Like coaching is a great tool to abuse, essentially, to rank up faster and understand the game a bit faster. Like basically, if you can trade money for time, that's essentially coaching. Like you're just trading money for time. Essentially, you want to develop yourself as an individual player to the absolutely highest levels before you reach pro elo. You want to reach Radiant by improving 95% of your skill sets and to find the perfect solo playstyle for yourself. Like you need to ask yourself, like what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What type of scenarios you want to avoid and what type of scenarios you want to force within your gameplay. Finding that individual value is very, very important for you, especially if you want to play in some kind of an esports team in the future as well. After you find your individual value, you need to find your team play value. You want to develop yourself as a team player and to find the perfect squad playstyle or playstyles in order to reach pro esports levels. Like that is why a lot of the players like that are Radiant, high elo players in Valorant will never become professional players. Like I would say that 98% of the Radiant players that are right now Radiant, 99% are never gonna be pro players. Never. Because they're lacking some kind of a team play value. Whether it is mentality, communication, whether it is like, you know, lacking certain playstyles that are good in a team environment, it doesn't matter. You know, like a lot of the Radiant players like play this game very brainless. You know, they just rush out, they think mechanical skill is everything, like they pick Reyna every single match and they want to be a pro player. Brother, you're not gonna play Reyna ever in a pro match in Valorant. And that brings us to the topic number 3. How do we divide players in Valorant? We divide players in specific elos based on which skill sets they need to improve in order to move forward. Essentially, based on which gameplay problems they need to fix in order to move on to the next level. That's why a lot of the players are hardstack in Valorant, because they don't deserve to be in a specific elo based on their current skill levels. That brings us to the topic number 4. Which skill sets do we need to improve in Valorant in order to become Radiant players? This is very important. Every single player in Valorant can improve 9 specific skill sets at any skill level, which means that the perfect player doesn't exist in Valorant. There is always something that you can work on to become a better player or to reach the next level in your gameplay. That also means a player such as Tense, for an example, he can do something better and become a better player in order to become a VCT champion. An average Radiant player can do something better to, you know, reach a certain level on leaderboard or like to become a pro player. It's a never-ending cycle, depending what is your goal. I mean, if your goal is to reach Radiant, then you know, the road stops there, essentially. But if your goal is to be a VCT champion, it's a never-ending cycle. So that brings us to the question, like Charlatan, what are the skill sets that we need to improve in Valorant? Game knowledge, decision-making, team play, adaptiveness, mechanical skill, training and preparation, communication, mentality, and attitude. 9 skill sets that you need to improve and work on every single day, or work on based on your specific rank and elo. And one more thing that I want to mention here is like, how is training and preparation a skill set? In order for you to grow as a player, you also need to understand what is good, bad, and optimal training. Like a lot of you guys like are doing some trainings that are hurting your progress, doing some aim training routines that doesn't make any sense, and your progress is just being stagnated. Let's move on to the next topic. How do we divide players' skill groups in Valorant? The elos, essentially. We divide players in Valorant based on their skill sets in 3 main elos, low, medium, and high, and we have 1 sub-elo called the pro elo. So let's start first with the low elo. Low elo is everything between Iron 1 and Diamond 3. Because players mostly lack proper game knowledge, decision-making, and mechanical skill in order to move forward. And the second elo in Valorant is the medium elo, which is basically Ascendant 1 to Immortal 2. In this elo, players mostly lack proper understanding of ranked team play, a ranked team play. Not esports team play. Ranked team play is completely different thing. Communication, mentality, and attitude. Also, like this elo here, we can call the babysitting elo. Your main focus should not really be on yourself. You primarily need to compensate the mistakes that your teammates are going to be making and to understand how to abuse these mistakes or how to turn them in your favor. Now we have the third elo in Valorant, which is like the true high elo. Immortal 3 to Radiant, where the players mostly lack adaptiveness and they need to learn how to play every single scenario in the game to perfection. Valorant is kind of like the game of scenarios. You know, like we have 11 maps, we have like 24 agents right now, 23, I don't know. The amount of scenarios that you're gonna play in Valorant is not unlimited. Like there is around 3,000 scenarios that you're gonna play. And if you wanna move from Immortal 3 to Radiant, you need to understand how to perfectly play majority of these scenarios. Like what is a good, bad, and optimal game decision. That's why the grind from Immortal 3 to Radiant is usually the hardest and essentially the longest for a majority of the players. In order for you to reach Radiant, your adaptiveness needs to be on the pro elo levels, as well as the majority of your other skill sets. Now, we finally have the final elo, which is the pro elo. Now, the pro elo is like top 1000 players, which is usually 450, 500 rank rating, and in this elo you need to improve 95% of your solo skill sets onto Radiant levels in order to be considered a true Radiant. Like this is the elo where the game becomes a bit better in terms of team play, in terms of how much you can trust your teammates. Like in this elo, I don't play the same as I play in other elos. Like in this elo, we can actually trust our teammates a bit more. We can start our games with a bit better mentality and a bit better behavior towards our allies. Now, why is this important? Because of the next topic. Does team composition matter in ranked, and when should you fill in ranked environment? Remember that the team compositions don't matter at all until Immortal 3 450 plus rank rating, as long as you have a good controller for that specific elo and that specific map. Until high elo, you need to completely master 2 agents and have 2 additional alternative picks if you really need to fill. Team comps are only important in high and pro elo, and you should be adapting yourself to different playstyles and agents. But once you reach Immortal 3, 400, 300 rank rating, because going from Immortal 3 to Radiant will be heavily impacted by your overall adaptiveness as a player. You need to understand how to play majority of scenarios to perfection with specific agents, team comps, and to fully understand your win condition. This is why, after Immortal 3, you should be willing to do whatever it takes in order to win a specific round or match. And from Immortal 3, what you need to do, you need to master 3 agents completely and have 3 additional alternative picks if you really need to fill with those 3 agents. For every agent that you main, you need to develop in-depth playbooks for them in order to have multiple strategies and tactics. Players that are hard stuck are usually the players that have very shallow gameplay. You know, you're only using one setup, one playstyle, one Cypher tripwire, one Omen smoke. You need to diversify yourself and grow as a player. And by the way, like, join my Discord server to get ranked playbooks. Like I explained an enormous amount of strategies and tactics already. Quick plug-in, shameless plug. Now, you need to spend around 300 to 500 hours on an agent in order to truly master some character in Valorant. And in order to call that agent your main agent. Even with coaching, like, I mean, the main job of private coaching that I'm offering is like to reduce this time a bit. I'm not selling some magical pill that, oh, take this shit and become a Radiant player. No, like essentially I'm saving your time so that you don't need to spend countless of hours testing something over and over again in order to make it work. Now, in low and medium elo, you should never fill at all, and the better team will always win, as long as you have a good controller for that specific elo and map. Now, the most important topic. How do we divide, categorize agents in Valorant? No, it's not sentinels, it's not initiators, it's not duelists. How do we actually divide agents in Valorant? We divide them in 4 categories. We have movement type of agents that are usually good agents to main for faster players improvement and overall ranked grind. When I say movement type of agents, I truly mean some agents with teleportability, agents with dive abilities, agents that can travel distances in a very short period of time, and that can play an enormous amount of different scenarios very, very successfully. Now, the second category of agents in Valorant are the flash type of agents. These agents are optimal agents to main that are the best for situations where some level of team play is possible. Then we have like immobile agents, agents that don't have any flash type of ability or movement type of ability, and those are the suboptimal agents to main that are only good for filling where some level of team play is possible in ranked environment. And then we have the worst category of agents when it comes to players improvement, and those are the recon type of agents, basically the agents that are the worst to main before the medium and high elo lobbies. Now I'm just gonna give you a quick explanation of agents values that are gonna be mentioned right now. When an agent is good, that means that that is one of the best agents that you can main in that specific elo. When an agent is optimal, that means that it's an okay agent to main for that specific elo, but there are probably some better options, better picks. When an agent is suboptimal, it's an okay agent to main for that specific elo, but there are definitely some better picks, some better options. And when an agent is bad, that is one of the worst agents to main in that specific elo. The first category of agents, movement type of agents, we have Omen, Raze, Jet, Chamber, Yoru, and Neon. Yes, these agents are not the same, but they share the similar playstyle. They share very similar tactics, mindset to play them. And these agents are usually the best agents for players' faster improvement and overall ranked grind. Omen is an agent that is good in every elo, from Iron 1 to Radiant, same as Raze, same as Jet. Chamber is the agent that is good in low and medium elo, but it is a suboptimal agent in high elo. Now, why is that so? Because of his teleportability. Like, his TP ability is still very strong. Like, you can easily get a fight, get a pick, get out. You can reach multiple different vertical positions, create some very interesting and creative setups, like for yourself. It's very easy to get a pick from Iron 1 to Immortal 3 with Chamber. Now, why is he suboptimal in high elo? Because his TP is very slow for high elo. Then we have Yoru, which is suboptimal agent in low elo and good in medium and high elo. Personally, I wouldn't main Yoru if I'm below Ascendant 1, because he is a bit more complicated, a bit more inconsistent compared to some other characters. He has a lot of inconsistent values. But the thing is, like, what I've noticed is that medium elo and especially high elo players have absolutely no idea how to play against Yoru. Basically, what is really good thing about this agent is, like, in a lot of regions, people are not maining this character. So people are not really adapted to Yoru playstyle. Like, they don't really understand how to counter the Yoru, what to expect and stuff like that. And that's why once you already develop your game knowledge, your mechanical skill and decision making, and you reach Ascendant 1, Yoru is a really good agent. And when it comes to the Neon, which is the final movement type of agent, she is very good in low and medium elo and optimal in high elo. Like, yes, you can play her from Iron 1 to Radiant, but in high elo, like, players in high elo have a really good mechanical skill, you know, like, she is a movement type of agent, but in the same time, like, the weakest one. Now we have the second category of agents, which are the flash type of agents. So, immobile agents with some kind of a flash ability. In this category, we have Gecko, Phoenix, Breach, Sky, KO, and Reyna. Let's first start with the Gecko. Gecko is currently the most versatile, the most self-sustainable, and the best initiator in the game. Why? Because all of the other initiators got cucked by Valorant, and they got nerfed to the ground, essentially. And he is on a level of agents such as Omen, Raze, and Jet, to be honest. Phoenix, good in low elo, optimal in medium elo, suboptimal in high elo. Like, this is the agent where higher you go in the rank, his value goes lower. Because there are better characters to main. Phoenix is still one of the agents that consistently has over 50% win rate in ranked. Maybe the best flash in the game. The fastest one that is really hard to dodge. There's just that Phoenix simplicity is kind of killing him, you know, like, yes, with a wall and with the flashes, you can create different setups, have different entry pathings, but in the same time, you cannot destroy the Sentinel's utility and Sentinel setups. You don't really have any close gapping tool, diving tool. For some players, this agent might be a solution, but for others, like, this agent might be a completely stupid pick to main. Breach in low elo, suboptimal, in medium elo optimal, and in high elo good. Personally, I would main Breach starting from Ascendant 1 all the way to Radiant. And the thing is, like, they're just better agents to main below Ascendant 1. Like, yes, he is very strong, but the problem with Breach is, like, you definitely need some level of team play in order to make him work. His stun is hit or miss. Sometimes when you get stunned in this game, like, you have 100% accuracy. Can enemies just headshot you? Like, stuns mean nothing in this game. Sky, I mean, they nerfed the Sky so many times. It is just like insanity to even think about this agent. In low elo, I wouldn't consider playing Sky ever. Optimal in medium elo, and she is still good in high elo because on some of the maps, like, you kinda need, you know, that doggy dog. You kinda need Sky flashes. I would personally maybe consider playing Sky from Ascendant 1 to Radiant, but be really careful with this decision. Now, KO also, like, fell down because of general agent changes, and generally KO is one of the lowest win rate agents in Valorant in every single act. Like, he has usually like 45, 46, 44% win rate. Like, he is way too immobile. His flashes are not bad, just a bit underwhelming. And then we have another duelist, which is the Reyna. Optimal in low and medium elo, but suboptimal in high elo lobbies. And I would play Reyna, you know, from Iron 1 to Immortal 3, maybe. But the reason why I'm putting Reyna in optimal and suboptimal category is because of what's gonna come next. And that is the immobile type of agents in Valorant. Who do we have here? Cypher. Very bad in low elo. Personally, I would never touch Cypher in low elo. Like, literally, you're just gonna develop some really bad habits that is really hard to correct in the future, that it is not even worth touching Cypher below Ascendant 1. Optimal agent in medium elo. You know, from Ascendant 1 to Immortal 2, you can try filling in with Cypher. And really good agent to main in high elo because, like, Cypher is right now the most powerful Sentinel in the game. Now, Claw. Good in low and medium elo, but optimal in high elo. She is, like, very self-sustainable, very versatile character. But this agent still doesn't have the same level of versatility and self-sustainability as, for an example, Omen. Now we have Brimstone, suboptimal in low elo and optimal in medium and high elos. Basically, Brimstone is an agent that is very map reliant. You know, most of the times I would play Brimstone in some kind of a double controller setup. The only map where he is really good is like Pearl, Fracture and Bind, you know, as a solo controller. Then we have the Killjoy, which is bad in low elo, optimal in medium elo, and good in high elo. Like, Killjoy is the second best Sentinel in the game. We don't count, you know, like, Chamber as a Sentinel. Good agent, especially on some of the maps, it is an absolute meta and a must. Like, for example, on Abyss, she is really good. But Killjoy received a lot of the nerfs. She is not as good as she was before. Now, Viper. They destroy the Viper. Viper, as a solo controller, cannot be played on any map, except Breeze and Icebox. On every other map, maining Viper is just a Sudoku move. Astra, Riot Games is just sleeping on Astra. Like basically, she received tons of nerfs in previous few patches. For solo queue, I wouldn't touch Astra until Immortal 3. Adaptiveness of this agent, 0. Versatility, 0. Self-sustainability, 0. Compared to some other agents, like compared to Omen, for an example. Sage as well received so many nerfs that I would never touch Sage in low and medium elo, and she is a suboptimal pick in high elo. So I would play Sage as some kind of a fill-in pick from Immortal 3 to Radiant. You know, on the maps where you really need a Sage. Bind, for an example. Another agent that is an absolute garbage agent, Harbor. In ranked solo queue, out of all controllers, you wake up and you say, yeah, I wanna play Harbor. I wanna have fun and improve myself as a player by playing Harbor. Harbor can, once again, only work as a secondary controller because he doesn't provide any real smokes that last long. He doesn't have any rechargeable smokes as well. So it is really, like, once you use your utility, you're done. There's no retakes, there is no stopping the enemy's push, there's no one-way smokes. And now we have ISO. ISO is another immobile type of agent, which basically took the place of Reyna. Heaven for smurfs and mechanically skilled players. If you previously mained Reyna, now I recommend you to main ISO. Really good buffs to ISO. I must admit, like, really brought this agent much higher on my tier list. Good agent to main in low elo, and optimal agent to main in medium and high elo. And we have Deadlock, which is the worst sentinel in the game still, but they said they're gonna make some kind of a buffs, you know, for Deadlock in the future. So keep an eye on this agent's tier list on my Discord server, because if they buff Deadlock, you know, in a good way, Deadlock can be a very, very powerful sentinel. And now we have the last category of agents in Valorant, which are usually the worst to main, and those are the recon type of agents. Agents that essentially are immobile, don't have any flash ability, any movement ability, and their main purpose is to reveal the enemies when you're executing sites and going for retakes. And there's only like Sova and Fade right now in the game. These two agents, generally you should be mainly using as a fill-in picks. You know, like something that you just fill on the maps, and those should never be your main characters. Especially if you're playing in low elo or medium elo. Both of these agents are necessary and good in high elo lobbies, you know, from Immortal 3 to Radiant. And on a lot of the maps, like maining Sova and Fade makes sense. But below Immortal 3, like, there's so many better agents that are gonna make your improvement faster that it doesn't make any sense to main these two shits. And that brings us to another topic. What are the best agents for you to main? I'd always recommend newcomers and players below Ascendant 1 to main movement and flash type of agents that are equal or above B+ tier. For other players, this choice heavily relies on your personal playstyle as well as on your own strengths and weaknesses as a Valorant player. But I would always recommend you to follow my ultimate agents tier list when you're choosing your main agents. So if you want to main duelists, I'd currently recommend you to mainly focus on Jett, Raze, Yoru, and Neon. If you want to main initiators, I'd recommend you to mainly focus on Gecko, Breach, Fade, or Sova. If you want to main sentinels, I'd recommend you to mainly focus on Cypher, Chamber, or Killjoy. And if you want to main controllers, I'd currently recommend you to mainly focus on Omen or Claw. The next topic that we need to discuss: what are the best agents from these Valorant categories on different maps in Valorant? This list is just a general guideline, and it should not impact your personal preference. Some agents are simply better on some maps, depending on which elo you play. Just stick to your main agents if you're already finding success with them on a specific map. This list that you can find on my Discord server, we're not going to talk about this in the video. Just go onto my Discord server, like everything is written there. Go into the text channel called #important guides and you're gonna find this document. Now is the time for the actual tier list. This is the patch 9.0. This tier list, as well as the document that I've shared with you, is gonna be updated on my Discord server after every single patch. So make sure to join my Discord server for this tier list, but also if you want to get coached by me. Let's start with the D tier. Surprisingly, in the D tier, right now, I have only one agent, and that is Harbor. No one can convince me that in the ranked solo queue environment, Harbor is a good pick. In any way or capacity, he has nothing. C tier, we have Deadlock. Now, why am I not putting Deadlock in D tier anymore? Like, people are slowly figuring out how to play Deadlock, and she's actually not that bad in high elo lobbies. But Deadlock is like just one buff away from being a very, very good agent. Second agent in the C tier, Sage. She is a bit better than Deadlock. You know, meta pick still in high elo lobbies like on Bind and Split and some of the maps. Essentially, this is more like a fill agent than an agent that you actually want to main. In the C+ tier, we have Astra. A bit higher level of self-sustainability and versatility than these three guys here, but like, you know, second worst controller in the game. The problem with Astra is, like, she received way too many nerfs that Riot Games really likes to nerf the agents to the ground, like, where they're not playable anymore. but she was very, very powerful when she got released in 2021 and in 2022. Now, the second agent is the first initiator, which is KO. Of all of the initiators in the games, why would you play KO? Yeah, maybe if you're a Counter-Strike player, you know, you really like those pop flashes and stuff like that. But KO is more of a team play character. The next agent that we have in the C tier is the Viper, but only because of the nerfs that she got. Like not being able to pick up Poison Cloud. The Toxin is really effed up right now. One Molotov. Sorry, not sorry. The final agent in the C+, we have Zova. You know, the second weakest initiator in terms of self-sustainability and versatility. You know, if you're Immortal 3 above 300, 400 rank rating, sure, you can main Sova, but brother, let's be real. Like, you're playing Sova in an average low Immortal or high Ascendant lobby. You're just watching on a camera in HD how your jet that muted you in the round number 3 is dashing in and dying. Then we have the agent, which is basically the Sky. Now, why Sky B tier and Sova is not B tier? She is more self-sustainable than Sova. You know, they're very, very close. Sky has a AoE heal, like 2 flashes that are better to do solo engagements, and you can get some easy picks in medium and low elo lobbies, because players in medium and low elo lobbies, like they never turn around from the flash. They just look at the flash and they're like, okay, kill me now. Above the Sky, we have the Fate, which in my opinion is slightly more self-sustainable and more versatile agent than Sky because of HP reduction of the C's of the ultimate is really good of the Fade. Like when you're executing the bomb sites, retaking the bomb sites, you have 2 dogs that are stronger than 1 dog, you know, like even though you don't have the vision with them, like 2 is better than 1, but still like maximum like B tier agent on the tier list. And believe it or not, I'm gonna put like Reyna in B tier above all of these agents here. Now, why do we do that? Reyna Flash is actually good. Reyna received some of the balance changes that are actually both good and bad. Smurfers are kinda nerfed, but in the same time, like Reyna can travel higher distances with her dismiss ability and take space for the team after the kill a bit faster. We move into the B+. In B+, we have El Killjoy. Now, Killjoy received a lot of the nerfs. You know, she is not as powerful as she was before. She's still a meta pick on some of the maps, in high elo lobbies, you know, in Immortal 3 and Radiant, but she is nowhere near good as she was before. Now, the second agent in the B+, is basically the Breach. Not bad, not good. Most of the times it is better to play him in high elo lobbies on some of the maps. He is also a very niche pick, you know, he is not good on every map, like on some of the maps he's just terrible. He has a bit higher levels of self-sustainability and versatility than some of the other agents, but just his utility is more powerful for solo hard carry than some of the other agents. The final agent in the B+ is gonna be the Brimstone. Not good, not bad, okay. Very simple controller. There's not many things that you need to learn. You just need to learn like what is a good, bad, and optimal smoke setup. You have a Molotov for the lineups to deny the space, to pressure the enemies. Good speed boost, like you have a Reyna ultimate basically on your Q ability, and you have a powerful ultimate to play the post plans to deny the space. Like simple agent, it can be good low, medium, high elo lobbies, but essentially like once again like niche pick. And now we move finally into the A tier and S tier in Valorant. The first agent we have is the Phoenix. We already explained a lot of the things about the Phoenix when we were talking about the agents categories. Not bad, not good, like the middle ground of duelists in Valorant. Which leads us to the second pick. On A tier, surprisingly, we put ISO here. I really didn't believe that I would ever put ISO above like, I don't know, C tier, B tier. ISO is really good. ISO is like a Reyna on steroids. His shield is very, very powerful to take initial duels. Very good pick in low elo lobbies, and a solid pick in medium and high elo. Final agent in the A tier is gonna be Neon. Neon buffs are actually really good. I mean, now you can slide, you know, and you're basically hitting people like you're fully accurate in the middle of the slide. But Neon is never gonna be powerful duelist in the game, in Valorant. Because at the end of the day, you're just running around. Now, in the A+ tier, the first agent we have is the Chamber. Yes, I'm still keeping the Chamber close to the S tier. I still feel the Chamber is slightly better than Phoenix, ISO, and Neon. It really depends what type of player you are. Like if you're using the setups that I'm gonna explain in my ranked playbook on my Discord server, grinding from Iron 1 to Immortal 3 with Chamber can be a piece of cake. Another agent that we're gonna put in A tier, A+, is gonna be Yoru, which is basically, in my opinion, the best agent in this specific category. 2 flashes that are very powerful, 2 teleports that are also very powerful to flank, lurk, take space, fake out that can do a lot of different things, ultimate that is also mega powerful to take space, and usually you're good for 1 kill when you use the ultimate in combination with the rest of your utilities. So Yoru, in my opinion, right now is much better than these 4 agents. S tier. The first agent that we have in S tier is Cypher. Cypher is not really the best agent to main in Valorant. Like, I would not touch Cypher in low elo, and I would only play him as a fill from Ascended 1 to Immortal 2. But brother, he is mega strong right now. If you can master both aggressive and passive playstyle with Cypher, like basically using your cages to close the gap and understanding when to lurk, when to flank, like if you develop yourself as a player in every single field, Cypher is really fucking strong. Agent is just the best sentinel right now, period. Now the second agent is obviously gonna be Claw, which is the second best controller in Valorant right now. Claw is basically the Omen for players that struggle with decision making, timings, and their brain. If you're a mechanically gifted player, like you can win a lot of your 50-50 fights, and you kind of need to fill a controller for your team, Claw is that pick. The third agent in S tier is the Pokemon. The best initiator in the game right now. The most versatile, the most self-sustainable. His utility is very strong in low elo and medium elo lobbies. Yes, he's a bit worse in high elo lobbies, but still, his kit is much better than, let's say, for an example, someone like Sova, in order to solo carry and in order to take the space for the team, engage the enemies alone, etc, etc. But when it comes to the S+ based, nothing changed. You can nerf Raze as much as you want. She's still fucking good. But to be honest, Raze is like 1 or 2 nerfs away to be like in A tier, or maybe even B tier. Like, yes, the satchels got nerfed, but it's not that big of a nerf. I was always talking how you should properly use the satchels and what is the main purpose of the satchels, so it's a nerf, but still, it's okay. Same as the Jet as well. Like, both Raze and Jet are still S tier, the most versatile agents, the most self-sustainable agents that can play so many different scenarios properly and that can teach you a lot about Valorant without you needing to rely on your teammates. And as I said, the king still stands on top, like essentially, like, I mean, Omen is just everything still in the game. Initiator, controller, sentinel, duelist. It just depends how you play him. If you play him in a stupid way, in a passive way, as a support, you suck. If you play him only as a duelist, you suck and you don't play him properly. Like, Omen is still the agent that is gonna improve you the fastest in terms of your skill sets. Maybe you're not gonna improve in terms of the rank as fast as you would like with someone like Jet, Raze, Gecko, Claw, Yoru, Chamber, etc. But Omen is gonna improve you as a player. Like, if you reach Radiant with Omen, it is not the same as if you reach Radiant with Ice, for an example, or with Jet. Okay, Radiant is not the best example, like Immortal 3, for an example. Because you learn so much about the game, you develop so many different skill sets, because you need to develop them if you want to move forward. And Agent is still mega powerful. Like, essentially, every single piece of Omen's kit is just mega strong. Like, fake shroud the steps, outplaying the enemies, one-way smokes, mid-air smokes, elevator smokes, fake TP, real TP, like, you're the master. Yoru is the Omen of duelists, but Omen is just the king of everyone else, essentially. Like, so these 3 agents are still the most self-sustainable, versatile, and the best for solo queue grind. And that is the current Ultimate Agents tier list in Valorant for ranked solo queue environment, for ranked duo solo queue environment. Like, this is not for esports team play, like, this has nothing to do with that shit. It's been a long journey. Every single year, I'll make this type of a video 2 times per year. You know, like, this is gonna be a biannual thing. Whenever there's some big agent changes, big, like, updates. So, this tier list and this document that I have written during this video is gonna be, like, updated when there is any update in the game. Like there's a new map, there's a new agent, there's like some kind of balance, you know, in the game, balance changes. So make sure to join my Discord server in order to check this document and to see if there is anything new. Also join my Discord server if you want to get privately coached by me, and leave a like, subscribe, leave some kind of a comment. Tell me what you think about this tier list and, you know, which agents work the best for you. And other than that, I will see you in 2025 in the next Ultimate Agents tier list. Thank you for watching and see ya next year.